Are you looking at voiding or deleting old invoices? Invoices that you know customers are no longer going to pay you, so they've become aged and basically irrelevant. Then this video is for you. Hi, if you're new here, welcome. My name's Lucy and I run Burton's Academy, where I provide accounting top tips and software training such as Xero and QuickBooks. Today, what we're doing is we're running through the invoices that are aged and you're not able to delete them for one reason or another. So starting on Xero, what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to the actual invoices we're talking about today. So on the dashboard screen, click on Sales and then Invoices. And then what we can do is, just for ease, if you've got quite a lot of invoices, you could jump over to the awaiting payment section. And this will then show you only the invoices that are awaiting payment. If you've again got quite a few in here, you can then actually click on the search button and then choose the start or the end date to reduce the filter. So for example, the end date could actually be, because these are aged invoices, anything before 2025 and let's say 31st of December. So click search there and then your filter would be refined. I've only got the two, so mine hasn't changed, but yours would have. So once you have your invoices on the screen, what you'll see is if you were to enter into one of the invoices and then you go over to the delete button, so clicking on the three dots and then go to void it and then click void again. Typically what you'll see is a notification like this one where it's basically saying this is not able to be deleted. This is because your accountant or potentially yourself has put a lock on your accounts. Now this is really important to keep that lock on the accounts. We don't want to now go in the background, remove those locks, because what that means is this invoice relates to a previous year end. That previous year end has closed, you filed your accounts, so you don't want to change anything for that financial year. So instead, what we need to do, we don't want to delete it. We need to instead create a credit invoice. And so what that will do is it will make this as though it didn't happen, but we're then actually recording that in this financial year. But if you were to just void the invoice, that only records it in previous financial year, not the current. So this is why we're doing it this way. So instead, on that invoice, what we can do is again, click the three dots and then go down to this create and apply credit. Xero will then say, okay, well, here's the credit note. Do you want to credit the invoice? And because I was already on the invoice, it has already allocated that to the invoice. So I know my invoice, once I approve this, will be back to zero. And then what I can do here is when this invoice, this credit invoice, goes to sales, that will put it as a minus figure instead of the positive figure that normally comes through sales. So I can either leave it under sales or I could change it. And if I have refunds, I could put it under the refund category. Alternatively, a really good option is actually to put it under bad debts. So what could have happened is you've already had this particular invoice go into your bad debts and you're recording that on your balance sheet to record, we don't think we're going to get this, but we're hoping we will, but we're going to move it over to the bad debts. And so by then putting this against the bad debts account right now, you're then writing off that bad debts. So you can either call it bad debts write-off, or sometimes people will literally just call it WO. And that is basically saying we are writing off this bad debt. So again, if you're doing the bookkeeping and you have an accountant who completes your accounts, having this sort of account set up is really helpful for your accountant. They can easily see when you have written off invoices. Alternatively, obviously, you can let your accountant know, or they can go through your sales. But if you have quite a lot of sales throughout the year, they might miss it if you've got just this one random figure as a positive instead of that negative they're used to. So again, potentially having a different account is always helpful. So speak to your accountant before writing it off. But my suggestion is to create that bad debt write-off account. So I'll go away and create this account now, and then we'll come back together later. So once that's been created, you need to go over and click the approve button. And then there we have our one invoice has now been written off and it's been recorded in this year. So what we can do is go back to our invoices and we can basically just do that whole process again for this remaining one. And then that's it. And all your bad debt invoices can be written off and you don't have to worry about them ever again. I do hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow along for more helpful top tips. I'll see you at the next one.